Ladies and gentlemen, in the background, Brett will now demonstrate on an actual Romeo Lima Foxtrot, both hard and soft points. Brett, go ahead.
If you're going to shoot him, if you shoot him in the leg, it'll slow him down. It'll bring him to his knees and get right back up. You shoot him in the chest, that'll slow him down, but he'll still come back. There's only one place to deal with this monster.
Everything is fucking insane out there. Some fucking asshole tried to chew my fucking head off. He bit me in the fucking arm. I swear to God. Well, if this is the last Killer Kitchen, it's happening now. I don't know. So, welcome to Killer Kitchen, and maybe the last.
I'm sorry, sweetheart. Watch, guys.
Nothing's ever as it seems around here.
Everybody clear?
We all go a little mad sometimes. Haven't you?
Well, by now I'm sure all of you know what's happening out there. And if you're watching this, well, this is Killer Kitchen. And we're showing you 1985, the third in the Romero Living Dead series, Day of the Dead. It was written by George Romero and produced by Richard Rubenstein. Now, Richard Rubenstein's known for a lot of movies, and way too many for me to go into to start counting. But most of you probably would know his work throughout 1985 to 1992. So, what we're going to do is, here in the kitchen, we went out and we decided to pick up a metal mold, and we're going to cook you a fried zombie head meatloaf with spaghetti-o brains. And we're going to doctor that up just a little bit to make it look more like brains. We'll show you that later on tonight. So we're going to start by taking this entire 2 pounds of meat, which is still frozen. You know what? Why don't we get to the movie, and I'm going to thaw this out a little bit more, and I'll show you how to put your meatloaf together on our next break. You know, one thing I want to note is that being a zombie is actually not as easy as everyone thinks. In fact, to do a Romero movie, a lot of people, they had to go to what they called zombie school to learn to walk and act and move the way zombies are supposed to move. That actually became a thing big time when they were doing The Walking Dead and they needed extras. They had to open up a full-on zombie school, and the extras, the people who got to be zombies in this film we're watching tonight, they got $1 And then they were given a hat that said, I was a zombie, a baseball cap. And it said, I was a zombie to wear to the premiere. And they got, of course, a ticket to go to the premiere of the movie. So, like, we'll see you right here at the next break. This will be thawed out, and we'll start putting together our meathead. Not to be confused with Rob Reiner.
I'm Bob Plusmonger. Tonight's top story of the riots that continue to plague the downtown area. While reliable reports from local authorities remain sketchy, eyewitness testimony has inferred that multiple deaths have occurred, as have a large number of injuries. The causes for the violence are as yet still undetermined. Racial and ethnic tensions seem to have been no factor in this violent outbreak, nor has criminal activity, according to sources within the police department. At this time, the police have cordoned off the downtown area around 3rd and Kenosha, and are reported...
Well, looks like Antifa's at it again. Now, we've got our meat a little more thawed. See, this is what you want. You want to be able to crush through it, because you're going to have to squeeze through all of this. I'm going to squeeze all of this in here, just like that. And what we're going to do, we're going to take some of my special seasoning blend, and we're going to cover it right across the top. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of milk, just like that, and I'm going to take 2 eggs. It's kind of like making your hamburgers. The only real difference, really, is we're going to use breadcrumbs instead of pretzels or crackers. Now, if anybody's seen me, and you guys have seen Killer Kitchen, when I make my hamburgers, I use pretzels. But for this, we're going to use regular, plain breadcrumbs. But that's about the consistency you're looking for. Let's get back to the movie. Oh, if I didn't tell you guys, work on this movie actually started right after the release of 1978's Dawn of the Dead. But Romero got caught up on other projects, among which was actually Creep's Show from 1982 that he worked on with Stephen King. And originally, when this movie was getting cut, it had a budget of like basically $3.6 million. It turned around, and in the box office, it made $34 million back. So with a budget of 3.6, and you made that much back, no matter how much fucking bullshit happens in Hollywood, everybody made bank on this movie. That in lies. That's what made George Romero's movies so good. Because they shot on such a low budget that it looked more realistic. It had to. And again, like with Friday the 13th, the final chapter, Tom Savini came back. He did all the makeup and the special effects for the zombies. In fact, he does play a zombie in this if you look close enough. But what's funny, Tom Savini was actually in 1978's Dawn of the Dead, where they did show him as a biker and he got killed. So to see him come back here as a zombie, if you look close enough, you'll see him at the very end of the film. They'll show it. And if you look close, you'll see him. So it's like now you know what happened to the character from the 1978 Dawn of the Dead. Alright, I'm going to add some breadcrumbs to this. When we come back from our next break, I'm going to show you guys how to pack in your meatloaf to the mold. I took 2 equal size pieces of meat and I balled them up, just kind of kneading them together just like that. Now what I'm going to do is you know what? We're going to take a break, and I have to go get some more meat because I don't have enough to fill this mold. So while I run around the corner, why don't you guys get back to the movie, and we'll pick up where we left off in about 15 minutes. Now we're back from the store. And what I did was I filled in the mold like this, and I took and I punctured a hole all the way around. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bake this at 350 for another 20 minutes. Then we're going to pull it out, and we're going to show you how to doctor up a simple can of SpaghettiOs to mix up your brain. That way, your human head has some brain matter. I'm running out of time, and I don't exactly know what this bite's gonna do. We've all seen the movies. I know that I'm having a harder time maintaining. At the end, if you see the camera angle different, I'm not going to let my wife stay past a certain time. If I start feeling myself getting hungry, if I feel myself feeling more animalistic, we're going to stick put, but I'm going to make her go out. At least if she goes out there, she has a chance to survive. I'm going to go treat this arm. We'll see you at the next break. Now, one thing I'd like to bring up is, in order to make this film more, how do you say, commercially available, he elected to cut down the budget, and then what he did, see, this, a lot of people don't know this. There's actually 4 scripts to this film. The original script was 488 pages, 88 of course, pages long, and it was absolutely grotesque. As far as to my knowledge, to this day, nobody has actually read the original 488 page script. Now, when filming began, well, I should say when filming resumed in the fall of 1984, he had rewritten the script down to 184 pages. Now, many people know that script to be the original. Now, again, because of budgetary cuts and other things happening in the film industry at that time, he broke it down another 20 pages. So it was down to like 124 pages. All of the above ground scenes that were filmed basically right around the end of 1984, just before 1985. So it was cold out, it was miserable, there was a lot of shit. That's why they opted to shoot in and around like Fort Myers, which, you know, in and of itself is a great location to film this kind of film. Speaking of, to make our brains, because this is done, it's got to cool so I can take it out. To make our brains, what we're going to do, we're going to start by taking some Parmesan shredded cheese. We're just going to add a little pinch, right like that. Now we're going to take some red food coloring, and just like we make our blood, a couple of drops. Add a little bit more blue. And then we're going to mix this up real good. Now we're mixing cheese in because we want our brains to be nice and gooey. The food coloring is to give the brains that off color, and mixed with the orange that comes in SpaghettiOs. It gives it that off color blood orange reddish.
Package deals.
There's your brain. So we'll see you right here at the next break, where we will put in our brains, put our head together, and bake it for another 15 minutes and melt the cheese to hold the whole thing together. Now, before we cut back to the movie, I just got to ask you guys, what's a zombie's favorite kind of cheese? Head cheese. The infection's getting worse. I can feel myself getting hungrier. Everything hurts. It's not like the movie said. My eyes don't work. My skin is turning like a bluish green. And the hunger. I looked in the mirror a little while ago. I think rigor mortis is setting in. I don't have much longer. We're going to get back to the film. And on our next break, we'll finish putting our head back together. I hope I can hold out. But the hunger, I'm just so hungry. Don't listen to the movies. The disease is much worse than you think. It could be a variant of COVID-19. Oh, this will probably be our last break. I can feel myself just going. My wife, I told her she should go, but she told me she wants to stay. She said she'd rather live in hell as a zombie than be alone as a free American. So we're going to be liberals together. We're going to pack these brains down in here just like this. And see the divots. Now, this is my first time trying to do something like this. And I'm sure that shows. I knew the meat shrinks, but I didn't know it did all this. So we're just going to have to try our best.
The shredded cheese first, then that.
No, the shredded cheese goes on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Now what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to melt this cheese in place. And we're going to watch the conclusion of Day of the Dead. Originally released in the United States on July 19th, 1985. Stick around and we'll see you at the end of our end of Killer Kitchen. This is our head. And the hunger is too much. I can't. All right, cut.
Welcome, dear.